everyone. Welcome back to the Cybersec Asia stage. We come to the final session today as a day one of Cybersec Asia Class Thailand International Cyber Week 2025, powered by NCS Thailand. We hope that everyone can gain your valuable insight from all cybersecurity experts. Coming up next to conclude here at Cybersec Asia stage, where you can discover more knowledge and it's all about everything that you're seeking for, all the conclusions of the Cybersec Asia. When we talk about resilience enterprise, this session will bring everyone to listen from the experts under the topics of the resilient enterprise, how cybersecurity shapes organizational agility. You might have this question on your mind. You might have this question with your team. Here is your ultimate answers. By this session, we're very honored to welcome Head of Cyber Defense and Offensive Security from Habib Bank Limited. Ladies and gentlemen, please join with me in welcoming Syed Ubaid Ali Jafi to the stage.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Syed Ubaid Ali Jafri, and I am heading offensive and defensive security at Habib Bank and its affiliate. The topic of today's presentation is building cyber resilience for organizational agility. Actually, whenever the resilience word come into my mind, I connect it with cyber. So there are things which we are thinking about is cyber attacks and their preventive measures. Importantly, it is very necessary to know if an attack happens in an organization, what will be the consequences and how prepared you are to combat against such situations. Ladies and gentlemen, in order to understand that what cyber resilience is actually, I have prepared some slides that will help you in examine and for an individual and for corporate perspective, you would be able to examine that where you are from the resilient perspective in terms of cybersecurity. These are some statistics presented by World Economic Forum that 88% of executive view about cyber resilience is considering is at business priority. 88% executive, can you imagine? I am coming up only with 3 commitments. If you are heading up with 3 commitments in cyber resilience, your organization won't be impacted or affected by a massive cyber disaster, I promise. Those 3 commitments are: leadership commitment is the first thing which we actually focused in terms of cybersecurity. The second aspect is a strategic investment. And third and importantly, organizational culture. Leadership commitment is the top-down approach where the management is willing to invest in terms of cybersecurity. If the management is entrusted, where the commitment of the management comes from top-down approach, they need to do some hiring of the resources. They are strategic. They are forecasting their organization in terms of cyber alliance and cyber security built organization. Similarly, from the investment perspective, they are forecasting their organization for a strategic decision. Their plan is to invest in cyber security. And the third and the most important commitment is regarding the organizational culture. If organization employees are not willing to adopt cyber resilience, then there is no mean to adopt cyber resilience for the organization. That is a waste of the time and the technology, clearly. After completing these commitment, what will we be getting? That's an interview question, by the way. The important part is the implication of business. Once we achieve these 3 elements, we would be able to reduce the downtime and the financial losses from cyber incident. Secondly, we can build a strong trust with the customer and stakeholders. Thirdly, and the last importantly, that even in the crisis situation, we would be able to continue our business operations very smoothly. this is very important and interesting slide, that why we are actually focusing on cyber resilience to become a priority. I'm not here to tell you the definition of cyber resilience. You know better than me the definition of cyber resilience. I'm here to tell you that how I and my organization, and from the corporate perspective, we are actually forecasting the resilience in terms of cyber security and how we are achieving it. The framework, I am here to inform you and here to tell you that from what perspective we are actually anticipating this cyber resilience. There are important perspectives that you know that the frequency of sophistication attacks like phishing attack, ransomware attack, and malware attack, they are increasingly enhancing for last couple of years, and due to which we need an urgent preparedness for cyber resilience. Similarly, regulatory are more focused on the banking area specifically. They are more interested in viewing the bank if they got any compromise and if they are facing any disaster. So they are more interested in evaluating the controls of the bank. They are keen interested to evaluate the security posture of the bank. So in order to comply with the regulatory requirement, this is an important aspect to be aware from fines and penalties. The third, after the escalation of digital initiative, after post-pandemic, the increase of the attack surface has been actually anticipated for last 5 years. After the pandemic, we have observed a huge down of attacks due to there are numerous organizations who completely shifted themselves from physical premises to work from home, and we see a massive scale of attack, or cyber attack, in terms of phishing, whaling, spear phishing attacks. Importantly, this statement I usually refer to various colleagues, that if you know your enemy, like if you know your threat actor, what he is actually up to, what his actually grounds are, what he is intending to do, like what attack vector he is actually planning to attack in your organization. And if you know your defenses, like if you know your security, your perimeter, your edge, and your endpoint, if you know that what security measures you have implemented in your organization, you won't be fear about thousands of battle. You know that the strength of the threat actor, he would come by doing the phishing attack, he would come by sending me an email, he would come by sending a message to the WhatsApp. And if you know your defenses, that I have implemented certain policies and I know that this attack wouldn't work, then you don't need to fear about hundreds of attacks performed by threat actor. There is another statistics presented by IBM that the estimated cost of a data breach is 4.45 million. And are you ready to anticipate this cost? It's a surge in the ransomware attack, and we have seen in last couple of years that it's increased up to 105%. And in 2024, it was released by IBM. And again, it is anticipated is that the statistics are 63% consumer are unwilling to do business with those companies who got breached, who got data breached. It's presented by Accenture. 74% organization reported insider attacks or data breaches caused by employee negligence or maybe malicious intent. 82% breaches involve human errors. So if you compare these three statistics, and regarding the facts, there are that the robust cyber resilience strategy reported 25% stakeholder trust level. They increased the trust level of 25% stakeholder. Forrester report that the resilience recovery time reduces to 60%. It's a very big number, I must say. It's presented by Forrester. Companies with a strong cybersecurity practice are 30% more likely to pursue digital transformation, because if you are not adapting digital transformation, you would not be in the race at all. Leveraging threat intelligence reduces the cost of 2.5 million on average. It's why we have just placed this statement, because TI has played a very vital role in the field of cyberspace, because if your external attacks exposure is available for public, and there are data exposure for your client, consumer, stakeholder, suppliers, then this is not good for those organization who is integrating with your organization, who wants to do business with you. There are organizations who intends to do business with you, but if they see your exposure on the dark web, they would not be willing to do business with you. So in order to cut down this threat TI exposure, we have set up a framework, a very agile framework for you. Because I am not here to give you a presentation, I'm here to give you the rationale that how to do and what to do in cyber resilience. Like as an individual, what you will be achieving after this presentation, and how will you achieving after this presentation. This is the most important thing. So if I go to the traditional approach of cyber resilience versus a smart approach of cyber resilience, the traditional approach was reactive. The attacks, the past, we do perform analysis statically once we receive an incident. But for the proactive approach, we have solutions like EDR, NDR, IDR, ODR that work on the behavioral analysis, that doesn't work on static analysis, that work on the dynamic analysis. There are WAF that learn the pattern, observe the behavior, what is being captured over the network. So previously, firewall contains a signature, and if that signature is detected, then it would be in a position to detect the attack. Now, WAF has the capability to detect attacks automatically. Similarly, with the siloed security practice, like security was treated as a separate function, and it was observed in last couple of years. Now, it's a part of business decision-making process. Security is being considered as a business process. This is the key achievement for the cybersecurity professional. And whenever I read this statement, I become passionate that, okay, we are in the business decision-making position. Focused on parameter defense, yes, the earlier approach was, it was heavily focused on perimeter defense only, not the internal exposure. And only they are focusing from the external perspective, but for the smart and reactive approach is adopting the zero trust by not not accepting the device and considering that every device need to be authenticated individually and separately. Previously, there were manual processes, and for the incident response plan, we had manual incident response plan that were rarely tested. And like automation, it was when it was a disaster, the plan wouldn't work. But in this automation and orchestration, now the function and automated response, we now have the functionality to perform cyber drills, perform breach and attack simulations. And after that, we can anticipate that after conducting a cyber drill, we know that this cyber drill works in a way that can be helpful and useful for making long decisions. Compliance-driven strategies, only we need to perform the checklist that this is the compliance requirement. We need to purchase this tool in order to fulfill the compliance requirement. And we all know that from the BFSI perspective, earlier that approach was that in order to fulfill the regulatory requirement or compliance requirement, that was conducted as a formality. Now, it's a continuous improvement and adoption. Emphasis on ongoing assessment, testing, and updating the security practices. Also, the threats which organization, we have made the threat landscape that these are the threats which are forecasted for next couple of years or next couple of months, which are being anticipated in different banking sectors, and these threats are key monitor aspect for our organization. So now after adopting the smart cyber resilience approach, the results are actually disastrous and very, very, very much informative. Like if we adopt this cyber resilience approach apart from traditional approach, what we'd be getting that you would enhance the detection time up to 50%. Similarly, successful phishing attack would curtail down to 70%. And this analysis is those analysis which I personally myself has encountered in my organization. Similarly, improvement in risk identification and management up to 80%. The compliance requirement we would read up to 95%. Can you imagine? So the question is what to do, like as an individual. So how can I achieve cyber resilience and what I need to do? So these are the 5 steps if an individual can perform in an organization. If an organization would definitely ask you as an individual perspective that, okay, we are giving you this task, what would be your approach? How would you do the cyber resilience for our organization? What would be the steps? If you go Google and perform that I need to perform cyber resilience, you would find identify, protect, detect, response. But if you see practicality, there are some other aspect. Like the first step is to identify the critical asset. You need to perform the criticality assessment of the asset. And after that, you need to perform the impact assessment of the asset. If you are running up around 100 server in your organization, you can't do a like those 100 server are not critical at all. Those server needs to be assessed from the criticality perspective that those servers contain SI, like sensitive information, or PII, personally identifiable information, in which you would find that out of 100 servers, 25 are the critical servers, which needs like focused monitoring. Like after that, you need to perform the impact assessment activity. How to conduct impact assessment activity? You need to connect with financial department. The finance would be able to tell you that if that server goes down, how much the financial impact for the organization that would face. So for conducting the impact assessment of those 25 server, you would get the financial value that after if that server goes 1 hour down, we would be getting that much of financial impact. And after that, you need to conduct the asset classification. That, okay, we have classified the asset. This asset contains the confidential, integrity, and availability constraint. And after calculating the CIA score, you would easily classify the asset. So after conducting these 3 assessments, you had achieved the step 1 in what to do situation. Another step is to conduct the risk management. Now I am taking those 25 server out of 100. Now I have identified my critical asset, performed the impact assessment on those critical asset. Now I'm moving one head forward that I need to perform the risk management. To conduct the risk management, we need to perform the vulnerability assessment. So we usually conduct the vulnerability assessment. This term usually comes in my mind that, okay, this asset requires vulnerability assessment. No, the asset requires vulnerability assessment for those that are critical in nature. So performing vulnerability assessment on critical asset is the priority than performing vulnerability assessment on the non-critical asset. Yes, it is important, but not on the as important as we are conducting the VA on the priority asset. Then we are making the information security risk assessment that requires not vulnerability assessment, whether the patch is updated on the system, whether the maybe antivirus, EDR, or any other solution is enabled on the system. Unnecessary services are closed on the system. So that comes in the risk assessment phase, that this system is vulnerable from these services or not. That doesn't come in the VA phase. Information security risk assessment is more likely to assess the processes that is executed in the system. Thirdly, incident response plan. While conducting those 2 activities, then we come in the third area to identify, is there any type of incident that had happened previously in those 25 assets, like ransomware, malware, any other incident that occurred on those 25 servers and underlying network or infrastructure. Like those 25 servers must be connected with the firewall, with a router, or with any network devices. So is there any attack encountered by these servers on the perimeter or internal level? So we need to identify or classify the incidents. Secondly, conducting tabletop exercises, and also conduct the simulated cyber drills. Simulated cyber drills meaning we will need to ensure that these servers, in case of disaster, would work in the crisis management situation. That in the management or for the employee engagement, they know what to do in case of any disaster. Like they wouldn't be seeing the faces of each other. Like when in case of disaster, we would be seeing each other faces, not for the reactive approach. So they need to be very proactive. Continuous monitoring is the fourth step. Like you need to detect anomalies that are coming from the outside the network for those 25 assets, and monitoring parameter, DMZ, and edge security, performing log analysis of critical events. The whole landscape of resilience, what we have observed so far, is relying on these stages, and these in these stages, specifically in these areas, what we have focused on and what we have examined so far, these areas are the key concerning areas where we need a closer eye on it. Finally, training and awareness is the key element where we develop the training and awareness program. We conducted simulated training and awareness sessions with the audience. We send the brochures over the internet. We send emails to the employees and customers regarding training and awareness. Also, we conduct phishing simulations, run different campaigns, and which schedule on annually or biannually or quarterly basis. So what to do? This is the important area that you need to do this thing. Now, this is my last slide. I wouldn't take your time very much. And how to do is, this is the key thing. So how to do is, like what to do, I have told you the steps, that these are the steps. And how to do is, like we have divided these areas into three main categories. The first category is the network protection, second category is the endpoint protection, and third category is the user protection. From the network protection perspective, you need to conduct the risk assessment first, ingestion logs in SIEM, implementing UTM firewalls, making sure that encryption is in place or enabled, taking backups for network segments, and perform the vulnerability testing on the network level. On the endpoint level, like the user machine and the server level, what you need to ensure these 6 areas. There are numerous areas, but if you ensure these 6 areas, you can achieve the minimum assurance of resilience. And what are they? Like if you implement an advanced EDR solution, it may help you to detect the anomalous behavior conducted by the system, and if in case of any anomaly or attack happened in your endpoint, it will trigger an alarm. Further, you need to perform the software and services update, like third-party software that may be open source like Java, Adobe, and Flash, that should be patched. Because of these systems and these applications, mostly organization got compromised, like any desk vulnerability, TeamViewer vulnerability, VNC vulnerabilities. These are the open source software that provides various functionality, but due to the lack in implementation or due to the lapse in their soft security, the whole endpoint got compromised. Similarly, performing the system hardening, our practice is to take the golden image of an operating system. What does golden image means? A hardened operating system with limited services running in it, implemented EDR, XDR, NDR, and certain event logs are enabled in the system, and taken the golden image, and that golden image is being deployed throughout the organization in order to make it consistent. So that golden image, if you have, so there is no chance of, or there is no scope of error that you have deployed the golden image and EDR was not installed. EDR is in the golden image. And whenever you deploy the golden image, it will be automatically installed across the board. Mobile device management, personal phones containing official email address. This is the practical use case. Personal phones containing the official email address are prone vulnerable from stored credential attacks, and mostly personal phone got compromised, and due to that, your official account credential got compromised. Multi-factor authentication needs to be enabled using various techniques like authenticator. Virtual patching is one of the key elements what we have focused on and help our organization to achieve cyber resilience. And last but not the least, it's about the user protection layer. For the user protection, we deployed the spam filters on the user layers, dark web monitoring, like if the user credentials are exposed on dark web for an organization, we immediately go and ask the user to change the credential, implement MFA. And if we find any credential on the dark web, we connect with the user and we ask the user, what application did you recently implemented or installed in your phone? That application compromised your credential. We immediately ask the user to change it immediately and try to shut down those specific website where the credential were breached. The shutdown rate is not very good, but we try to keep it ongoing as a BAU activity. Security training and awareness is also important part for the employee training and awareness is the that help in growing the organization agility while you are conducting security and training awareness in terms of simulated cyber drill. That will definitely increase your program management skill in the form of cyber security. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. And if you have any query, you can feel free to ask. I still have 15 seconds. I can answer if you have any query. And this is my QR for LinkedIn. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Syed Ubaid Ari Jafi, for sharing your insight with all of us and the key takeaway. This is a message to everyone here. Cyber resilience is not a word, but it's all about organizational action. So we can build this cyber resilience in our reality. Thank you so much อย่างที่เมื่อสักครู่นี้นะคะคุณไซได้กล่าวไปนะคะว่า Cyber Resilience นั้นจะช่วยปกป้ององค์กรจากภัยคุกคามไม่ว่าจะเป็นในปัจจุบันรวมถึงในอนาคตนะคะสิ่งสำคัญเลยคือการบูรณาการทางด้านการรักษาความปลอดภัยเชิงรุกค่ะไม่ว่าจะเป็นการตรวจสอบแบบ real time นะคะการตอบสนองต่อเหตุการณ์ที่อาจจะเกิดขึ้นได้โดยอัตโนมัติรวมถึงการสร้างความยืดหยุ่นบนระบบคลาวด์เพื่อให้มั่นใจนะคะว่าความคล่องตัวในการเผชิญกับภัยคุกคามนั้นจะสามารถตอบโต้หรือว่าโต้กลับได้อย่างรวดเร็วทันท่วงทีนั่นเองเราได้เรียนรู้กันแล้วนะคะว่าเราจะสามารถปรับตัวอย่างต่อเนื่องที่จะช่วยให้องค์กรนั้นสามารถฟื้นตัวได้เร็วขึ้นแล้วก็เสริมเกราะป้องกันทางด้านความมั่นคงปลอดภัยไซเบอร์ในอนาคตให้กับองค์กรได้อย่างไรค่ะ Thank you very much everyone for joining with us today at day one here at Cybersec Asia State once again. So we would like to ask for your kind cooperation in completing the conference surveys. All of you might have any suggestions and recommendations for us, so please feel free to let us know to help us improve our future editions of Cybersec Asia. Your feedback is highly appreciated. Once again, I would like to briefly outline on tomorrow's agenda that why is your opportunity to explore and engage with all the experts here. We will start at 10:30 a.m. with a lot of highlight session. The first part of discussion on the topics of cybersecurity service provider standards and certification. In the afternoon session, we have two highlight panel discussion. First one under the topics of quantum threats and readiness in the quantum era, from industry leaders, followed by another panel discussion on building an ecosystem from digital and cybersecurity industry, with every session by NCSA Thailand. So we'd like to invite everyone, so please join with us here as a Cybersec Asia State. Before I conclude today, once again, everyone, we would like to invite all of you, if you'd like to engage and stay connected with everyone who are in the cybersecurity industry together. We have a party tonight, official after-show party of Cybersec Asia 2025, hosted by Prunk and Partners and VNSU Asia Pacific. Our extraordinary night after a day of insight at the Cybersec Asia. This is exclusive Cybersec After Dark at Regenerate Sing Sing Theaters, organized by Prang and Partners. Your chance to enjoy, relax, and network and celebrate in a vibrant setting with the fellow industry leaders. Gentle reminder to all of you, our party will start from 9 p.m. onwards tonight. The tickets are available to purchase 500 baht per person, available to purchase online and on-site. Hoping to see everyone around here as after party tonight. Thank you very much, everyone. So see you again on tomorrow. Travel safe and goodbye. ขอบคุณทุกท่านนะคะแล้วพบกันในวันพรุ่งนี้สวัสดีค่ะ